Hello everyone, my name is Shashikiran. Today we are going to see the chapter by name Theory of Production. Now, you would have already studied this unit in your second PUC or might be in your 12th standard, might be in your schooling. Now, instead of straight away starting with the advanced concept, let me ask you a basic question. What do you mean by production? Can you answer it? Yes, somewhere around some 10, 15 years, 100 years, 200 years back, you would have learnt in your school. So, that old answer. So what do you mean by production? It is the process of converting raw material into a finished good. So I think this is the answer which you have learned. Is it correct? Okay, boss. Sorry to say, it is not the right answer. The proper answer is completely different, and this is what you have learned in your school. Do you agree to me? Then what exactly is a proper answer? Sir, remember, a conversion of raw material into a finished good is always not called as a production. Then what it is called as a production? Adding utility to a subject matter. What is the word? Utility. Remember, you need to create a utility. Now comes it out. Sir, what do you mean by utility? Utility means it is a want satisfying capacity of a commodity. Sir, full toss. Utility, we have heard somewhere, forgotten. Want satisfying capacity of a commodity. What exactly is that? Let me give you an example. Suppose you went for a restaurant. You wanted to have your favorite dish over there, assuming masala dosa. You went for a hotel. Now you had a masala dosa in a hotel. You didn't like the taste of that particular masala dosa. Will you visit that hotel again? Surely you will never visit it again. Now, one of your friends suggested there is a new hotel which has been opened recently. The masala dosa is yummy. Now you will go there, you will try it. You like the taste of a masala dosa. Now you tell me, are you going to go for the new hotel or the old hotel where you didn't like a taste of a masala dosa? Obviously, you are going for the new hotel. Am I right? Yes, superb. Now, that satisfaction part for a particular customer, that is called as a utility, want a satisfying capacity. No doubt, in both of a hotel, they have converted a raw material into a finished good. But where did you get that satisfaction? In hotel 2, that is in a new hotel. It's not in a hotel number 1. Do you agree to my point? Yes. Now, sir, what exactly do you mean by production? Remember, production is the process of adding utility to a subject matter to satisfy whose wants? Human wants, by converting inputs into an output. That conversion of input into an output needs a human effort. It requires a human effort. Remember, here input refers to your land, labor, capital, organization. These inputs are scarce in nature. That is, we don't have abundant. Sir, no doubt land is fixed. Over a 10 years period of line, let me say it never going to increase. Land will remain the same. Sir, we have a labor, yes, we can increase our labor, but the skill and efficiency of a labor over a period of time it starts increasing. But we have a very scarce resources of skilled labor. Sir, capital, money, investment capacity. Sir, organization, a owner. This land, labor, capital, organization. These are called as inputs. By using this limited inputs, we are going to produce an output. Did you understood the meaning of production? Now let me go little more ahead. What do you mean by production function? Sir, production, okay. Production function. What does exactly do you mean by production function? We have also heard about demand function, might be in your older classes. The relationship between price and demand. Unlike the same, the relationship between input and output is called as production function. Yes, exactly. Now you can see there it is a relationship between input and an output of an organization, which can be expressed in a mathematical equation. Mathematical equation. What is that equation? Q is equals to F of land, labor, capital, organization. Now this Q represents rate of output. Rate of output. So the scarce resource is called as input is used in order to create an output. Now we have two types of production function. How many types of production function? Two types of production function. That is short run production function, long run production function. The very first one is short run production function. The second one is long run production function. I don't really want to straight away take you to the concept. Let me give you one small example wherein you can exactly understand this concept. Assuming I'm a duster manufacturing company. Which manufacturing? Duster manufacturing. One of my student, let me say, is a very known person in a society today. Now he owns a very good educational institute. Now he got to know that Shashikiran sir is also having a side business, that is a duster manufacturing. For your educational institution, you wanted to order some dusters. Anyhow, I was your faculty long ago. Okay, chalo, you will come, you will meet me, and you will say, see Shashikiran sir, I'm in need of 100 dusters. You are in need of 100 dusters. Now, assuming today is 1st of January. Now you will say me, sir, I will give you 1 month of time. On 1st of February, I need 100 dusters. I need 100 dusters. Okay, chalo. Assuming within my existing capacity in every single month, I'm able to produce 800 dusters. I'm able to produce 800 dusters. Now, I've got additional 100 dusters of order. Now, boss, every month I'm able to produce 800 dusters. Now I'm getting an additional order of 100 dusters for a 1 month's duration of time. Now you tell me, for that 100 additional dusters, will I able to produce it? Yes, sir, you can aram se produce it. Now my question is, think about production function. What does production function says? It is a relationship between input and a output. What is my inputs? Land, labor, capital, organization. Now boss, for just 100 extra dusters, will I purchase a new land? Definitely not. Will I employ even more laborers? Possibility, sir. If at all, if I'm not able to produce with my existing labor capacity, at least for 1 month, I can employ laborers. Do you agree? Okay. Sir, land is done, labor is done. Now, capital. For just producing 100 extra dusters, will you invest a huge capital either on a machinery or either on any equipment? Definitely not. Then last, organization. Boss, organizer is nothing but a owner of an organization. For just producing 100 extra dusters, will you say, no, I'm unable to do it. I will take one of my friend as a partner. Is it so? Obviously not. So out of this four, land, labor, capital, organization, which are the things which is going to remain same? Sir, land is going to be fixed. Do you agree? Sir, capital is going to be fixed. Do you agree? Organization is going to be fixed. Do you agree? So the only thing which is going to vary is labor. Do you agree to my point? So land is fixed, capital is fixed, organization is fixed. The only variable factor is labor. Okay, chalo. Now I gave him a delivery of 100 dusters on 1st of February. Now let me say my student is happy. He has a multiple educational institutions across the nation. Now he is planning to take the dusters only from Shashikiran sir. Now let me say on 14th of February, that is on Valentine's Day, one of my dear student, he came with a very great proposal. What is it great proposal? Sir, I like the dusters which you gave it. The quality was really good. I'm thinking to order 1 lakh dusters. How many dusters? 1 lakh dusters. See, sir, today the date is February 14. Take 1 years of time. Next year, that is February 14th of next year, I need 1 lakh dusters. Now, you tell me, my production capacity is 800 dusters in one single month. Within the existing production capacity of 800, if I run it for 1 year, can I able to produce 1 lakh dusters? 800 into 12, sir, 9,600 dusters. But the order is 1 lakh. Now you think within the existing inputs, that is my land, labor, capital, organization, can I able to produce 1 lakh dusters? Sir, no. Now you tell me, can I able to produce 1 lakh dusters with the existing land space? Not possible. I need to purchase a new bigger land. Do you agree? With the existing labor force, can I able to produce 1 lakh dusters with the existing labor force? Sir, obviously not. I need to employ even more. Do you agree? Okay, fine. With the existing machinery, whatever is there, the limited machinery, can I able to produce 1 lakh dusters? No, sir. Even now I need to employ even more laborers. Also, I need to invest more on my assets to produce 1 lakh dusters. Now comes the part of organization. Now you tell me, organizer, sir, I can produce, or I might also take a loan, or I might also take a help of my other friend, wherein I am unable to produce 1 lakh dusters. I will partner with him, then I can able to produce. Possibilities are there. Sir, now land is also variable, labor is also variable, capital is also variable, organization is also variable. Now, just few minutes back, I explained you about a short run, 100 dusters. Can you vary everything over there? No. Sir, at least one of the element will be variable, others will remain constant. Do you agree? But in long run, anything and everything can be changed. Boss, you have enough time. It was 1 year duration of time which is given to you to produce 1 lakh dusters. So you have ample time with you. You can produce within the given time frame by changing any inputs of your organization. Do you agree? Now, let me come to the point. You can see there in theory of production function, sir, short run and long run. There are two types. Sir, in case of short run, we have fixed factor, variable factor. Even in case of long run, we have fixed factor, variable factor. Sir, in short run, the fixed factors were more. Sir, land was fixed, capital was fixed, organization was fixed. The only variable was labor. But in case of long run, everything was variable. Do you agree? Land, labor, capital, organization. There was nothing called as fixed. Assuming organizer, owner, he is capable of investing such a huge money. Yes, then I can consider organizer was a fixed factor, land, labor, and capital. These were the variable factors. Do you agree? Now, sir, what exactly it is? Sir, theory of production function. Sir, in production function, I have two types of production function, short run production function and long run production function. Sir, in short run production function, fixed factors are more. In short run production function, variable factors are less. In long run production function, my fixed factors are less. In long run production function, my variable factors are more. And boss, remember, your short run production function is called as law of variable proportion. Law of variable proportion. Long run production function is called as law of returns to scale. Law of returns to scale. Let me repeat it once again. Sir, theory of production. In that production function, in production function, we have two types, short run production function, long run production function. So under short run production function, we have law of variable proportion. Sir, under long run production function, we have law of returns to scale. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about law of variable proportion, that is short run production function. Now, sir, what exactly is a law of variable proportion? Sir, impact on output is due to change in some factors of production. It is known as short run production function. Did you understood, sir? And we have few assumptions to be taken in this law of variable proportion. What are those assumptions? I said you, whether it is a short run or whether it is a long run, organizer was the same person, owner was the same person, either to produce 100 dusters or either to produce 1 lakh dusters. The owner was remaining one and the same. Do you agree? Yes. So we assume there are only three factors of production, land, labor, capital. We will not consider organizer as of now, but we are only considering the first three factors of production. Now, sir, as it is a short run, I said you variable factors are less, fixed factors are more. Sir, my second assumption, land and capital is a fixed factor. Land and capital is a fixed factor. The only variable factor is labor. And the most important assumption is technology remains constant. Sir, what if technology doesn't remain constant? Now, boss, whenever technology increases, my output or production capacity also increases. But as of now, to explain this theory, we are making an assumption wherein technology is remaining constant and there is no perfect substitutes for fixed factors. Now, whatever land and capital we are assuming as a fixed factor, we assume that they don't have any other perfect substitute. So these are the five important assumptions in law of variable proportion. And in the law of variable proportion, we have three stages. How many stages? Three stages. Stage one, that is stage of increasing return. Stage of increasing return. Stage two, that is stage of diminishing return. Stage of diminishing return. Stage 3, that is stage of negative return. Stage of negative return. Sir, law of variable proportion. It is a production function under short run. It has 3 stages. Stage 1 is stage of increasing return, is also called as SIR. Second stage is called as stage of diminishing return. It is also called as SDR. The third stage is called as stage of negative returns. It is also called as SNR. Did you understood? Now let us understand what are the 3 different stages of this law of variable proportion. Sir, stage 1, that is stage of increasing return, wherein the proportion of fixed factor is more than variable factor. Sir, just few minutes back we discussed fixed factor, variable factor. What happens in stage 1? The proportion of fixed factor is more, variable factor is less. In stage 2, the proportion of fixed factor will become equal to variable factor. In stage 3, the fixed factors will be less, variable factors will be more. Confused? Don't worry. Going further, you will understand it even more very appropriately. Now, let us understand some basic concept before heading ahead with the advanced concept. You have also studied this concept in the name of total utility, average utility, marginal utility. Now the concept remains same. Instead of utility, we are using it as production. Now, what exactly is a total product? Now, sir, TP, total product, it is a summation of all the units produced. Now, the question comes, sir, what is the summation or what is cumulative? Arthat, suppose, for example, in your organization, there are 3 employees. How many employees? 3 employees. Now, these 3 employees put together, they are producing 100 dusters in a day. How many dusters in a day? 100 dusters in a day. Now, if I come and ask you, see, Shashi, in your organization, there are 3 people, right? Okay. Chalo, how many people are giving you, or let me say, how many out of these 3 are giving you maximum number of output, or in a one single day, how much they are producing individual? Can you identify? Sir, it is not possible. But all the 3 put together, they are producing 100. That is what is called as cumulative. Sir, 1 plus 2 plus 3. That is the output of 3 number of laborers. Sir, if at all there was only 2 people, suppose if my output is 60, I can say them, sir, 2 people put together, they're contributing 60. 3 people put together, they're contributing 100. Now, assuming you have 2 people in your organization and you're getting 60 units of output. Now, let me come to the second one, average product. What does average product speaks about? It says about one single unit. One single unit. Sir, 2 employees are there. 60 units is your output. I can easily say that that is every single person is contributing 30 dusters in one single day. Do you agree for this? Chalo, superb. But is it really true that both of them are contributing 30 and 30? There might be a changes. Do you agree? So we can also identify marginal product for that. Sir, what exactly is a marginal product? Sir, marginal speaks about one additional unit or one extra unit. Sir, I had 2 people. When I appointed 2 people, they were getting me 60 dusters in a day. Now I appointed third person, that one extra person. Now my output is 100. Can I aram se say that 100 minus 60, 40. This third person is contributing 40. Do you agree? Yes. That was the main important point. Now, if I see about the formulas of all the 3 particular products, TP says P1 plus P2, P3 plus P4 until Pn number of units. That is how many number of labors or how many number of units you have. You need to add up all the things. That is why we call it as cumulative. We call it as cumulative. The second one is average product. That is one single unit. Average product is equals to total product divided by quantity. Total product divided by quantity. Next, the third one is marginal product. Now we have 2 formulas for the marginal product. The very first formula, that is what you have already learned, that is MP is equals to TPN, that is total product of present unit minus TPN minus 1 previous unit. That is, if your output is continuous, assuming, let me say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 10 11 12 13 14, if at all the output is continuous in nature, then you can use this first formula. So suppose if my output is not continuous, for example 2 4, 6, 8, 3, 5, 7, 9. In that particular circumstances, you need to use the second formula, that is MP is equals to change in TP divided by change in Q. I hope you have understood all the three formulas. That is, the very first one is total product, P1, P2, P3, P4 until Pn number of units. AP is TP divided by Q. MP is TPn minus TP n minus 1 if output is continuous. If output is not continuous, change in TP divided by change in Q. Now, let's go ahead and let me give you a numerical problem where we can understand the law of variable proportion in even more advanced manner. Now, sir, assuming I'm a manufacturer, let me say I started with this duster manufacturing company. Now I need to start employing laborers to work. Okay, chalo. I appointed first person. In one single day, this first person is producing 20 dusters. How many dusters? 20. Okay. I appointed second person. Now first plus the second put together. Now two people are working. These two people put together, they're producing 50 dusters. Appointed third person. Now 1 plus 2 plus 3. All the three people put together, they're producing 90. I appointed fourth person. All the four put together 120. Why am I saying it as all four put together? Because my total product is cumulative. It is cumulative. Sir, 5 people. When I appointed the fifth person, my single day's output is 140 duster. Sixth person, 150. Seventh person, still same 150. Eighth person, sir, it is 140. Don't you think there is some problem with this 6, 7, and 8? Sir, 6 is acceptable. 7 problem started. 8 is like worst situation. Now, suppose if I give you an option, boss, you're a owner. Now you tell me out of this 8, you have a data with you. How many number of labors would you like to employ? 6. Why? Sir, because at the sixth level of output, let me say I'm getting 150 dusters. Even when I appoint at seventh, I'm getting 150. Sir, it is nothing but I'm simply appointing the seventh person wherein he is not at all contributing anything. Simply for the name's sake, he is working, but I need to pay him a free salary without even working properly. Do you agree? Sir, for sure, I'm not going to give an attempt of employing eighth person. Do you agree? But if you ask me the same question, I will ask you to solve this AP and MP first. Then we will get the exact figure what is the contribution made by every individual person. And remember, the AP formula is TP divided by Q. MP formula is TPn minus TPn minus 1. Sir, how exactly? So let me take the first one. Sir, AP says TP divided by Q. Q itself means number of units of laborers what you have employed. Now, 20 divided by 1, 20. 50 divided by 2, 25. Now, sir, MP, TPn minus TPn minus 1. Sir, TPn, present one is 20 for first one. Do you agree? N minus 1, previous is 0. When you have not appointed anyone, will you have any output? No. Sir, it is very clear evident, even the marginal product meaning says 1 additional or 1 extra. So don't you think it will also be 20 here? Now, so let me come to the second one. TPn will be 50 for the second unit. N minus 1 is 1, that is 20. 50 minus 20, 30. So solve this AP and MP according to this particular formulas. You will get a clear idea what exactly the number of laborers would you like to employ. Now, these are the results. Now, you people suggested you are going to appoint how many people? Only 6 people, because even when you have appointed 6, your output is 150. Even when you have appointed 7 person, your output is same 150. Why do you want to simply give a salary for the 7 person without even working, right? But if I was a particular owner, if you are asking me how many number of laborers will you employ, sir, I will say I will employ 7 persons. Sir, why? The 7th person is not at all contributing anything, but still, why do you want to appoint this 7th person? Okay, let me give you one superb duper example. Assuming your friends have planned to go for a trip. Let me say there are some 7 people totally you have planned. Assuming person A owns a car, and let me say he has an Innova car. He has a which car? Innova car. Now, what is the seating capacity of Innova car? Let me say 6 plus 1, including a driver, it is 7. Okay. First person entered inside the car. Still, how many seats are pending? 6 seats are pending. Boss, can I say the seating capacity, whatever seats inside the car is there, it is a fixed factor. Number of people getting inside the car, that is who are coming inside the car, is a variable factor. Now, sir, initially my fixed factor is more, variable factors are less. Yaad karo, somewhere just few minutes back we spoke this. Sir, in stage 1, the proportion of fixed factor is more, variable factor is less. Yes, boss. When only the driver entered inside the car, still 6 more seats are empty. Sir, fixed factor is more, variable factors are less. Now, boss, second person entered, third entered, fourth entered, fifth entered, sixth entered. Still one more seat is vacant. Boss, whenever we go for a trip, we usually think, okay, boss, let the one seat be empty. We'll keep the luggage. We'll go comfortable, arams, and we'll come back. Do you agree? Yes. But somewhere we also know that one more person can be occupied. Now, boss, seventh person entered inside the car. Now, my fixed factor, that is seating capacity, variable factor, people coming inside the car, both are equal. Both are equal. Now, tell me, if at all you find one more person extra coming inside the car, that is eighth person, will you find it comfortable? Can you sit comfortable? Can you travel in a comfortable zone? Obviously not. That is what even happens for an organization. You can only appoint people to the extent of fixed and variable factor both are equal. In my seventh laborer, my fixed and variable both became equal. But still you have a doubt, sir, the seventh person is not at all contributing anything, but still, why do you want to employ him? Even at the sixth person, I'm getting same level of output. Even if I appoint the seventh person, I will get the same level of output. Chalo boss. Assume you have appointed 6 people. One of the employees on leave. Now your output will come to 140 with 5 people. Suppose if you had 7 person, even if one is absent, still your output remains 150. And more than this particular example, remember, whenever your marginal product is 0, marginal product is 0, it represents optimum level of output. It represents optimum level of output. Whenever your marginal product is 0, your total product will be maximum. Total product will be maximum. And remember, that is the place where my second stage ends, sir. That is stage of diminishing return, wherein my fixed factor and variable factor both will be equal. In stage 1, fixed factor was more, variable factor was less. In stage 2, fixed factor and variable factor both becomes equal. But in third stage, sir, that is stage of negative returns, wherein my variable factor is more, fixed factor is less. Sir, that is when you entered, let me say when the 8% entered inside the car, obviously, sir, completely discomfort. We are unable to go or we are unable to travel properly. Do you agree? Remember, sir, when does the second stage ends? Second stage ends when my TP is maximum, MP is 0. So that is the place where my second stage ends. Sir, after second stage, it is obviously the third stage. What will happen in second stage? My fixed and variable factor both becomes equal. What will happen in third stage? Variable factor is more, fixed factor is less. Remember, boss, whenever your total product is maximum, marginal product will be 0. What does MP0 represents? Sir, when MP is 0, it represents optimum level of output. That is, for the given input, you are making a best use out of it. You are not even over exploiting the resources or underutilizing the resources. Whatever resources, the input which you have got, you are making a best use out of it. I hope you understood this. Now comes a beautiful question. You understood when does the second stage end and when will the third stage be, or what is the third stages? Now if I ask you, when exactly will a first stage end? That is, sir, fixed factor is more, variable factor is less. Think about it. Okay, even before going to the first stage, there is one more important point which you need to learn. That is point of inflection. Point of inflection. Sir, what is this point of inflection? Remember, whenever your marginal product is maximum, at that particular point, we call a total product as a point of inflection. Sir, let me repeat it once again. Whenever your marginal product is maximum, to that level of output, your total product, that is at the third level, you can see the 90, the yellow shaded one. This is point of inflection. Sir, how confused? Listen. 1, 2, 3. Sir, initially my total product is increasing in a faster pace. No doubt, even after the third level of output, my TP is increasing, but it is not increasing in a faster rate, but it is increasing in a lower rate. Sir, you can see here, sir, 20, 30, 40. Sir, there is an increase. Later on, after 40, it is decreasing. 30, 20, 10, 0, minus 10. That is, sir, initially my marginal product increases, becomes maximum. When marginal product is maximum, we call that particular situation or that particular region as point of inflection. Point of inflection. And even after which my TP increases, but it increases at a lesser rate. Now we can see here, point of inflection is a situation wherein MP will be maximum. And TP increases faster, that is a steeper rate, until your MP reaches maximum. Yes, it is increasing faster. When we represent it in a form of graph, you will understand it properly. Now, boss, after this, no doubt your TP is increasing, but it is increasing at a lesser rate. Why? Because my MP is decreasing. Now, many of them will say, sir, third level of output is the end of first stage. No, remember, your first stage ends when your average product and marginal product both are equal. Sir, my first stage ends when AP and MP both are equal. My second stage ends when my TP is maximum and MP is 0. Then what is point of inflection? Sir, point of inflection is a situation wherein my MP will be maximum. That is, at the level of 90th unit, your organization is getting a maximum level of output, beyond which no doubt it increases, but at a lesser rate. Now, boss, what is this first stage? Sir, my fixed factor is more, variable factor is less. What is the second stage? In second stage, my fixed and variable both are becoming equal. What is the third stage? My variable factor is more, fixed factor is less. And you can also see here, sir, in first stage, that is SIR, stage of increasing return, will end when AP and MP both are equal. And when there's the second stage ends, when TP will be maximum and MP is 0. And what is this third stage? Wherein your marginal product starts reaching negative and your output starts decreasing. Remember, be it any manufacturer, he will take a decision based on marginal product, not on the basis of TP or AP. Now, what exactly does my average product says? Let me give an example. Suppose you have appointed 3 people. Out of these 3 people, you're getting output of 90. Now, average product says all the 3 are contributing 30, 30, 30. Is it true? Maybe or may not be, but I don't have a clear picture. But my marginal product will give me the clear picture. Sir, first person is contributing 20, second person 30, third person 40. My marginal product will give me the clear picture rather than total product and average product. Hence, any manufacturer for it matter, he will take a decision on the basis of marginal product, not on the basis of TP or AP. Did you understood? Now, boss, you can also see it here. When does the first stage ends? When AP and MP both are equal. When does the second stage ends? When TP is maximum, MP is 0. When MP is 0, what does it represent? Optimum utilization of resources. So remember, any manufacturer for it matter, with having a scarce resources, you would like to get maximum level of output. So any manufacturer will prefer to operate at stage 2, that is especially will appoint until 7 laborers. They will never appoint beyond 7 with the given respected numericals. Now, boss, the second stage, that is stage of diminishing returns, is a place where every manufacturer would like to operate. Remember, whenever MP is 0, it represents optimum level of output, and we are also utilizing the resources to a maximum extent. This was the concept of law of variable proportion. And there is one more small topic which is really important in terms of your examination and also a bit trickier to understand. Let's have a look at it now, boss. That is relationship between AP and MP. Relationship between AP and MP. Now, what is this, sir? Boss, you can see this graph here. It is like a tortoise shell. Now, just now we spoke about this average product, marginal product, and there is also something called as cost. Theory of cost is a chapter which you have also studied in your 12th standard. Average cost, marginal cost. Now, first listen to the statement and tell me, did you understood or not? Sir, when average product is increasing, MP is greater than AP. Let me repeat it again. Sir, when average product is increasing, the rate of increase in marginal product, I'm using the word rate of increase. Rate of increase in marginal product is greater than average product. Sir, when AP is maximum, AP is equals to MP. Sir, when AP is decreasing, the rate of decrease in MP is greater than AP. And if I see it in terms of a cost, sir, when AC is decreasing, my rate of decrease in AC is greater than MC. Sir, when AC is minimum, AC is equals to MC. Sir, when AC is increasing, the rate of increase in MC is greater than AC. Full toss? Didn't even understood anything? Have a look. Just now we have prepared this TP, AP, MP. Do you agree? Now only this upper portion of this particular graph. Let me explain you this. Now, what did I use a word? I used a word called as the rate of increase. This is the most catchiest word, the rate of increase. Now have a look here. What did I say? When AP is maximum, AP is equals to MP. Just have a look at here. 30 is the maximum of AP. When AP is maximum, this region, sir, AP and MP both are equal. Sir, when AP is increasing, sir, 20, 25, 30. Sir, when AP is increasing, I said the rate of increase. I'm not even giving a numerical value, which is increasing faster is what I'm speaking. Rate of increase. Sir, have a look here. My MP 20, 30, 40, but my AP 20, 25, 30. Now, sir, which is increasing faster? Is it MP or AP? Don't you think MP is increasing faster? Just one second. Don't you think the MP is increasing faster? Superb. Boss, my MP is increasing faster than AP when AP is increasing. Sir, when AP is maximum, sir, my AP and MP both are equal. And you can also see when AP is decreasing, Sir, that is from 30, 28, 25, 21.45, 17.5. You can also see my marginal product is decreasing faster than average product. You can see here from 30, 20, from 20, 10, but here from 30 to 28 and 28 to 25. Sir, that is what whenever my AP is decreasing, my MP is decreasing faster than AP. Now, did you understood, sir? There is only one simple shortcut to remember in this concept, and 1 marks is for sure is going to come in your CA foundation exam from this particular chart. Remember, only in case of AC decreasing, your AC is greater than MC. That is, your average concept is greater than marginal concept. Other than this one simple situation, sir, be it AP increasing, be it AP maximum, be it AP decreasing, or be it AC minimum, or be it AC increasing, my marginal concepts are greater than average concept only and only in case of AC is decreasing. My average concept is greater than marginal concept. I hope you understood this particular topic. And